We have an absolute national competition underway. There are mayors across the entire country that are competing to be more Bitcoin friendly. If we go back to November 2nd, earlier this week, I tweeted out something pretty innocent. I actually tweeted it while we were on this show. I said, it is time. Who is going to be the first American politician to accept their salary in Bitcoin? Now, I shot this off and I figured that it would start a little bit of a conversation. Maybe somebody would ask a politician, would they do it? And we'd see where it went. Almost immediately, literally within about 30 minutes, less than 30 minutes, Mayor Francis Suarez of Miami came off the top rope. He quote tweeted it and he said, I'm going to take my next paycheck 100% in Bitcoin. Problem solved. At Suarez, who is the CIO of Miami, can you help? Now that set off an absolute explosion. The mayor of Miami, the next paycheck, one paycheck he was going to take in Bitcoin, the first politician in the United States to do so. Well, of course, the newly elected mayor of New York City, the financial capital of the world, Eric Adams, he's not going to be outdone by the Miami mayor. He came in and he said, in New York, we always go big. So I'm going to take my first 3 paychecks in Bitcoin when I become mayor. New York City is going to be the center of the cryptocurrency industry and other fast-growing, innovative industries. Just wait. So now we got a little friendly competition going. We got the mayor of Miami, we got the mayor of New York. One is going to take 1 paycheck, the next is going to take 3. Well, my friend Francis Suarez, he's not going to be outdone by that. He first was very congratulatory. He said, touche, congrats on the election. I look forward to the friendly competition in making our respective cities a crypto capital. Very, very nice. While he was contemplating his next move, we then saw Mayor Scott Conger from the city of Jackson, Tennessee. Ain't nobody ever heard of Jackson, Tennessee, but now I know all about Jackson, Tennessee. He said, while state law prohibits the city of Jackson, Tennessee from paying me in Bitcoin, I'll follow the lead of Francis Suarez and Eric Adams and instantly convert my next paycheck to Bitcoin. And so now all of a sudden, within 2 days, we got 3 mayors all competing to see who could be more Bitcoin friendly. But the mayor of Miami was not going to be outdone. He said, listen, I like Tennessee, I like New York City, but no. Last night, he went on television and he said he will now take 100% of his salary in Bitcoin. 100%. Every paycheck he is going to take in Bitcoin. So again, it's almost like they're one-upping each other. One-upping. And then this morning, as if 1 and 2 are outliers, 3 begins a trend. 4, that kind of breaks the dam open. And this morning we saw the Tampa Bay mayor, Jane Castor, has announced that she will accept her pay in Bitcoin as well. And so now we have 4 mayors across the United States just this week who all have decided to take part or all of their salary in Bitcoin. And so what we are about to watch is that not only do you have mayors who are literally competing with each other to say, I am more Bitcoin friendly than the next one. Move to my city. Come here. We want the entrepreneurs. We want the innovators. We want the investors. We want Bitcoin enthusiasts. We want the people who believe in the same ethos and in this technology. That is ultimately good for the world, in my opinion, because now what you have is you have politicians that are competing right now simply in a social capital type of way. They're trying to prove to you that they really believe. They're trying to prove to you that they actually are aligned with these ethos as well. But ultimately, that social capital ends up being converted to actual action over a long period of time. Because if not, people will eventually understand that it was all talk and no action. I'm all about that action, boss. But what we're going to watch is these politicians are going to have to start doing all sorts of different things. Will they lower tax rates? Will they create sandboxes of innovation? Will they start to lend city resources or use their city resources to help entrepreneurs and investors? Will they go and pre-negotiate some sort of space? Will they do things around events or other types of activities that can help people be more successful? There's 2 types of local politics going on right now in this country. The first is people actively cheering against the entrepreneurs and the investors, cheering against a capitalistic society. And then there are local politicians who understand that America was built on capitalism. It was built on job creation and on economic prosperity. But the way you get that is not through a top-down or centrally planned economy. Instead, it's to simply give the resources and needs to entrepreneurs and investors and then get the hell out of the way. And so when we have competition now, 4 cities, all east of the Mississippi, it's going to become quite interesting to see who's going to be the first to actually start to put some of this into action. Taking your salary is one thing, but who's actually going to be able to convince more and more and more people to move to their city, because Bitcoin is going to continue to be adopted. John, when you saw all the mayors competing now, is this just funny to you, or do you think that there's actually stuff that'll happen in terms of action coming out of this?
I think it's cool. I think it's smart for them if they're really gonna embrace Bitcoin the way they want to, and have said they were, especially Eric Adams, who just recently got elected, and then Mayor Suarez as well, who just won his re-election. Look, they're putting their money where their mouth is, right? They're actually taking their hard-earned dollars and converting them to Bitcoin. And I believe Suarez is doing that via Strike, but it's interesting to see. We'll see when and if they actually ever try to hold Bitcoin on the balance sheet. I know there's a lot of rules around that you're not allowed to do that, but we'll see. It's good for them, good for Bitcoin, and hopefully they can orange pill some more people.
Joe, what do you think?
I think some people saw what Mayor Suarez was doing and are trying to replicate it in some capacity, right? Not only with Bitcoin, but just the strategy around marketing your city, right? Like the ability to go on Twitter, online, on social media, and in the public, and just publicly market your city as a good place to live, inviting people to come there, try to foster innovation. And Bitcoin is certainly a part of that, and the ability to say, hey, look, I'm actually doing this personally. I'm taking my own money, my own salary in Bitcoin, certainly speaks to part of that, and people believe it and they see it. But I think ultimately it comes down to what you said, which is like, how far does this go? Do you put Bitcoin on the balance sheet? Do you pay city employees in Bitcoin? Do you give preferred tax treatment to companies that come here for innovative services or building innovative products, right? So there's a million different things. Those are just a few examples. But I think what we're going to see is this is kicking off a revolution almost of people competing against each other, which ultimately is the best thing, right? Competition helps everyone at the end of the day. So I think what we'll see is there's going to be a bunch of different cities. It's not just New York. It's not just Miami. It's not just Tampa. I bet we see a bunch of different mayors pop up and try to cater to their citizens.
Miami, New York, LA, other places that are like large metropolises, they have a whole bunch of different things that they can go pitch people on. Hey, come to Miami because there's nice weather. Come because there's tax regime that's friendly to you. Come because there's the beach. Come because we have great diversity from all of these people who come to this place. We have an international airport, right? We have major sports teams. Like you have all these different things. And oh, by the way, we're Bitcoin friendly or we're crypto friendly. What I think is really interesting is when you start to get places like Jackson, Tennessee, which again, I don't know very much about, never heard of them before, right? They start to raise their hand and say, hey, maybe we don't have professional sports teams, or maybe we don't have an international airport. Maybe they do, but I'm just saying it, right? If they didn't. Oh, by the way, we don't have a beach. Oh, by the way, we don't necessarily have some crazy advantageous tax regime or a beach or some sort of better weather, but we're Bitcoin friendly. It now is a thing that you literally can plug your city into the network. And I think that to me is so interesting is because once you start to think about how do I take my city, I have a local economy, how do I plug it into the Bitcoin network? Taking your salary in Bitcoin is actually like the easiest, simplest, least important thing you can do. It's a signal. It's the bat signal. It's the flag in the ground, but it doesn't change anything for anybody else, right? It's just simply saying, hey, I believe in this stuff. What does change things, change the tax regime. Go ahead and actually start to use some of your electricity or power generation to mine Bitcoin, right? Create some sort of environment where you can actually educate people on the technology. How can they build companies? Do something where, like in Kentucky, they've actually said, if you use Kentucky power to mine Bitcoin, there was a legislative proposal. I don't know if it got passed or not, but they were saying that you would get better tax treatment if you use Kentucky power to mine Bitcoin rather than if you went somewhere else. So you start to do that. Now all of a sudden you're using economic incentives to get more people to move there. And also you're going to get the economic benefit of plugging in. It's not just oh, look what I did. And so the last thing we've got here is Francis Suarez of Miami. He has this quote where he said, Mayor Adams and I have become great friends and I welcome the friendly competition. I think it's incredible that he's joined me in leading American cities on cryptocurrency and helping democratize the financial system, not just for New Yorkers and Miamians, but for every American. And I think that, one, obviously funny, he joined me, right?
Yeah. Legendary quote.
I got it, right? Like he's good at what he does.
Let's be clear.
He's good at what he does. But I do think that there's this entire element of now when you have New York and Miami doing it, there's other cities that if you don't get in the game, if you're not even trying to compete, does that actually work against you? Like, it was okay to sit it out because nobody else was in. So then all of a sudden there was nothing. It's just like, oh, all cities are doing this. But the second you get 1 or 2, 3 big cities to say, hey, we're in, now if you sit out, it almost becomes the opportunity cost of sitting it out is so obvious to everyone that that's a negative versus actually participating, right?